You've seen it happen, right? A project has a brilliant idea, a fantastic team, even a solid budget, and it fizzles out. It happens all the time. But guess what? It doesn't have to. Today, we're going to crack the code on how to make sure your project doesn't just launch, but actually lands a perfect 10.
But seriously, why is this such a common story? You pour all this time, money, and energy into something, and the final product just misses the mark. It doesn't really solve the problem it was meant to. It's kind of the biggest mystery in project management. So what gives?
Well, here's our prime suspect. 9 times out of 10, the reason projects go off the rails, blowing budgets, frustrating everyone, and creating something nobody wants, is because nobody took the time to truly understand what needed to be built in the first place. This one thing can sink the whole ship.
All right, so to solve this mystery, we need to put on our detective hats. Our first job, gather all the critical clues. And in the world of projects, this process is called requirements elicitation.
This is the absolute bedrock of our investigation. And look, it's not just about asking people what they want. It's about digging deeper to uncover what they actually need. This is where we separate wild guesses and assumptions from cold, hard facts.
Every good detective has a code, right? So rule number 1, talk to your sources, your stakeholders, early, and keep talking to them. Rule 2, never rely on a single piece of evidence. You have to use a bunch of different techniques to get the whole story. And finally, you got to know which leads are worth chasing. That means prioritizing what's going to deliver real value.
And here's the toolkit you're going to use to crack the case. For the real deep dive, nothing beats a one-on-one interview to get the unfiltered story. To get the creative juices flowing, you run workshops. Need to get a sense of the bigger picture? Surveys are your friend. But sometimes the biggest clue is the one nobody talks about. You find it just by watching people work and seeing where they get stuck.
Now this right here, this is a total game changer. Asking, do you like this, gets you a yes or a no. End of story. But asking, what you think about this? Well, that opens the floodgates. It invites a story, and that's where you find all the juicy details and hidden needs you would have missed otherwise.
Okay, so you've done the legwork, you've gathered your clues, now what? Well, you can't just leave them scattered around. It's time to organize them into a coherent case file, what we'll call the project blueprint.
And let me tell you, this document is your North Star. It's the single source of truth that keeps everyone, designers, developers, you name it, on the same page. Without a clear blueprint, you've got 5 different people building 5 different things. It's chaos.
So, how do you make this blueprint airtight? First, keep it simple. No jargon. Use visuals whenever you can. Next, give it a logical structure. And this is huge. You have to define exactly what done looks like for every single item. And finally, remember, this is a living thing. You need to track changes and review it all the time to make sure it's still accurate.
And that brings us to maybe the most powerful tool in this entire process, acceptance criteria. Think of it like a checklist. It's how you prove, without any doubt, that a feature is finished and works the way it's supposed to. It kills all the ambiguity before anyone even starts building.
Here's a super simple example. The requirement is a login feature. The acceptance criterion makes it testable. A user has to enter a valid username and password. See, it's totally specific, it's pass or fail. There's no gray area.
You know that saying, a picture is worth 1,000 words? Well, in project management, it's probably worth about 10,000. A long paragraph trying to explain a workflow is confusing. A simple flowchart or a quick mock-up, everyone gets it. Instantly, we all see the same picture in our heads.
So, we've got the clues, we've got the case file, but who's our lead detective? Who's the hero of this story? Pulling all these threads together? That's the business analyst.
This person wears a lot of hats. They're part facilitator, guiding those conversations to uncover the real gold. They're part librarian, carefully documenting everything in that single source of truth. They're also part translator, making sure the business folks and the tech folks are speaking the same language. And finally, they're the inspector, who confirms that what got built actually solves the case.
All right, enough theory. Let's see how this works in the real world. Imagine a company needs a shiny new project management tool. Our analyst is on the case. Where do they even start? Well, they open up that detective toolkit we talked about. They'll do deep dive interviews with the project managers who'll use it every day. They'll run workshops with the teams to figure out what makes the tool easy to use. They'll send out surveys to get hard data, and they'll just watch how people are struggling with the tools they have now.
And after all that digging, a requirement pops up. Users need to manage tasks. But look at the acceptance criterion. It's not just that they can do it, it's that they can do it with ease. That one little phrase, with ease, changes everything. It guides the entire design.
And what's the payoff for all this detective work? A rock-solid blueprint. A document that gets everyone, from the top floor to the developers, nodding in agreement. It gives them a shared vision and massively lowers the risk of building the wrong thing.
So here's the bottom line. Getting a project right isn't about luck. It's about good investigation. If you gather the right clues and build a solid blueprint, you can pretty much solve the case every time. So that just leaves one question for you. What's the first clue you're going to look for in your next project?